The plan to revitalize the Delta Center and the blocks east of it moving forward today, but taking center stage, the fate of Abravanel Hall. I'll tell you what we learned straight ahead. After more than Sheriff Park.
All right, Sheriff, thank you. Well, the plans to revitalize the area around the Delta Center took a big step forward today. A legislative committee signed off on them, paving the way for Salt Lake City to give final approval and vote on a sales tax increase to help pay for this. News specialist Lindsay Ertz was at the meeting today, and Lindsay, it sounds like this was a unanimous vote, right?
It was, Ashley, unanimous from this legislative committee, and they just put in writing some of the recommendations that they want to see, and the big one is that Abravanel Hall stay as is. Now, this has been some debate over the fate of Abravanel Hall for a while. County Mayor Jenny Wilson reiterating today that the county's plan is to renovate the hall. She also said that the Salt Palace would be renovated with the goal to help potentially generate more revenue. Now, what this committee did today at the legislature was simply give a thumbs up to a plan that tax money can be used in these downtown blocks to help with upgrades. Now, those blocks are the Delta Center and the 2 blocks east. There was a bit of pushback, though, and some public commenters raising the issue about the sales tax, which would come from Salt Lake City. State Senator Dan McKay says the public has been able to voice their concerns to Salt Lake City's council.
And I think that unanimous vote, plus you look at today, you see a unanimous vote here. You see a lot of interest in making sure that this isn't viewed necessarily as a subsidy, as some might want to view it. Instead, it's viewed as an investment. And that's the most important part of this is an investment in keeping our downtown.
Now, the plans to address homeless mitigation and public safety, also part of today's discussion, but a central theme was leaders really vowing to keep Abravanel Hall as is. Now, coming up at 6:30, how the Abravanel Hall renovations get paid for is still a big unanswered question. I asked state leaders whether the state could be chipping in for them. I'll tell you what they said coming up tonight at 6:30. Reporting for Live at 5, I'm Lindsay Ertz. Back to you.
Lindsay, thank you. Well, whether you love it or KSL-TV.com.
Parents in southern Utah are invited to a car seat safety check coming up this Friday. It's going to happen at the Hurricane and Washington Fire Department station on Coral Canyon Boulevard. Their firefighters there say only 40% of car seats are installed correctly. The event runs from noon until 3 o'clock on Friday.
Kristen Van Dyke joining us on a very busy day.
The plan to revitalize the Delta Center and the blocks east of it moving forward today, but taking center stage, the fate of Abravanel Hall. I'll tell you what we learned straight ahead.
You're watching KSL News at 6.
Welcome back. Plans to revitalize the area around the Delta Center are taking a big step forward today. A legislative committee signed off on the plans, paving the way for Salt Lake City to give final approval and vote on a sales tax increase to help pay for it. But it was the fate of Abravanel Hall taking center stage at today's meeting. News specialist Lindsay Ertz now with the latest.
Yeah, Abravanel Hall is not getting torn down. That was the promise today from the county mayor, legislative leaders, and Smith Entertainment Group. But how the renovations get paid for, that's still a big unanswered question.
And I'm committed, as I have been from day one, to keeping the hall as is, where it is. We have a plan to do so.
A promise from the Salt Lake County mayor that's coming with a hefty price tag.
It's quite high. It exceeds $200 million.
And renovating, not demolishing the hall, was a commitment echoed throughout the meeting today of a legislative committee, the county, and reps from Smith Entertainment Group as they look to renovate the blocks east of the Delta Center.
We're all united in our goal of preserving Abravanel Hall as is. And thanks to the creativity, determination of great architects, engineers, and planners, we're on track to do that.
The fear of the hall being torn down, still a reality for many.
Can you clarify unequivocally that Abravanel Hall will not be demolished and rebuilt as a different symphony hall? Is Abravanel Hall no longer in the way of the planned open plaza?
Today, a committee of lawmakers voted to unanimously pave the way for Salt Lake City to give final approval to revitalizing the Delta Center and 2 blocks east and using increased tax money to do it. But it was Abravanel's fate and how to pay for renovation that still lingers. Something Mayor Wilson and Smith Entertainment Group still have to figure out.
We, with hopefully the state's help and other partners, can come up with that bill, the $200 million in excess to renovate that hall.
State Senator Dan McKay, who sits on the committee, was asked about the likelihood of the state chipping in. For Abravanel Hall, he says that is a county asset. But for the Salt Palace renovations, that brings in hotel money and conventions, which he says could be an economic driver for the state.
I can see a continued conversation about how we fund that and the best way to do it, such that we bring, the convention center forward to, the modern era.
Now, Wilson hopes that revenue from the Salt Palace renovations could actually generate more revenue for the county. As for next steps for this plan to revitalize downtown, it's now back in the hands of Salt Lake City, who will take a final vote on approving the contract and the potential sales tax increase before the end of the year. Reporting in downtown for KSL-5 News, I'm Lindsay Ertz.
Lindsay, thank you. We have shown you